In the season 22 premiere of Family Guy, Meg has a baby, Stewie gets a new enemy, and Chris becomes a professional foot sizer.
I don't know. Next!
And yet, I'm going to talk about everything I loved about this episode, as well as everything I didn't. So let's get into it. Entitled Fertilized Megg, the episode starts with Meg taking Stewie to the bowling alley for a birthday party, and is here where Meg talks to her best friend Bruce.
Hey, want to put quesadillas in our mouths and flip through a People magazine later?
Now, I will talk about this in a bit more detail later on in the video, but I do have to say that I honestly do love how their friendship is becoming a consistent thing in the show now. Meanwhile, cutting back to Stewie, and he's trading barbs with a kid named William.
Call me Norma Ray, cause you're about to see a strike. I watch a lot of movies at my grandma's house.
And I honestly think that they are setting this guy up to be the new Doug, who, if you don't remember, died in season 21.
Oh, and Doug died in a commuter plane crash this morning.
And to remind you of Doug's character, he was a smug, overachieving kid who acted like an adult, which played well against Stewie, who also acts like an adult. So it will be interesting to see how William's character will differ from Doug's in this season. And this scene with them both bowling against each other was really funny, with the ball ricocheting in a dramatic fashion against the barriers.
Yes, and then there were 9.
And I'm not afraid to admit it, but I still use the baby barriers. Sometimes. Alright, all the time. We also see that entrepreneurial Chris has a new job, which is getting women to place their bare feet against his belly to find out their shoe size.
That'll do, pig. That'll do.
Which must also be Quentin Tarantino's dream job. Anyway, when the party's over, Meg helps Bruce clean up after the kids, and she comments on how much it must suck to clean up after children all the time, but Bruce says that he loves them and would love to have one of his own. So, to help her friend out, Meg offers to be his and his husband's surrogate.
Mom, Dad, I'm having Bruce and Jeffrey's baby.
And this doesn't feel forced because Meg and Bruce's friendship has already been previously established, with 4 seasons worth of progression. Like in season 18's Better Off Meg, which first showed that Meg loves bowling, and also that she hangs out with Bruce who works there. This friendship was then carried over into season 19 when the two started dating and even got engaged. But of course, Bruce is actually gay and is going through with the whole charade just to please his parents. Meg realizes this and tells him to get married to his one true love, Jeffrey. And in a season 20 episode, we saw that they were still close friends. And what I really love about Meg and Bruce's relationship is that she can really be herself around him and let her personality shine.
Mark it, Bruce.
Dang, Meg, you are hot tonight.
Whereas when she's with her family, she's usually very reserved and quiet. So they go through with it, and Meg has an egg which is fertilized by Bruce, implanted into her, and so becomes pregnant. We then flash forward through the seasons until she's ready to give birth. She's then rushed to hospital, and the baby is delivered in a Panda Express bag.
Oh, it's in the bag already. It's a girl.
But funnily enough, this isn't even the first time that Meg has given birth, because in season 12, we find out that she secretly keeps her baby in her school locker.
What are you doing out of your box?
And after giving birth to her, Meg falls in love with the baby and offers to take care of her while Bruce and Jeffrey finish the nursery.
Thanks, Meg. We'll text you tomorrow.
So she takes the baby home, and Meg is a natural and caring mother, and I guess she learned all the things of what not to do by her very own parents, Peter and Lois, which is basically to do the exact opposite of what they did, like not abandoning your baby at a fire station, for instance. At first, Lois isn't too happy that Bruce and Jeffrey haven't come to collect their baby until Meg calls her the hottest grandma in town, which is a title she absolutely loves.
The hottest grandma? Well, I mean, okay.
So she starts wearing gilf shirts and drinks from an overly sized wine glass.
That was worth it for the joke. You did good, Lois. You're building a comedic voice.
Even Peter loves becoming a grandpa. And it is a really quick scene, but surprisingly a really cute and wholesome one, and shows that maybe some parents are just more suited to being grandparents. A few weeks go by and Meg is still caring for the baby, and for the very first time, Meg admits that being a mother has given her a real purpose in life. But the dads eventually come round to take their baby, and Lois scolds them for being so negligible. That is until they reveal that Meg has told them to stay away. As it turns out, Meg has been keeping them away because she loves the baby, but as soon as she realizes that Bruce and Jeffrey are the rightful parents, she gives them the baby back. All in all, I did feel that this was pretty heartfelt, and at one point I did think that they were actually gonna keep the baby, but of course everything does have to go back to the status quo by the end of the episode. Plus, we already have a baby Griffin and Stewie, so do we really need another one? Even though admittedly it would have been funny seeing Stewie as an older brother. But what I really did like about this episode was that Meg wasn't the punching bag for once. She wasn't farted on, beaten up, or even told to shut up.
Shut up, Meg.
And it would have been so easy for the writers to make fat jokes about Meg being pregnant, but they didn't. I've spoken about this a few times in the past, but within the past 5 years, the writers have really made an effort to develop Meg's character. They've given her interests like bowling and friendships like with Bruce.
Bruce Almighty! What it look like, boy?
She's actually becoming a three-dimensional character now, and I'm totally here for it. And turning Meg from a single joke character into, well, an actual character has meant that the writers have been able to do more storylines. We've been getting a Meg-centric every season, and I say, keep them coming. I always do appreciate some variety from different characters. And aside from Meg, there were a lot of funny moments too, which to be honest is what we need from an adult cartoon. Like when Peter curled up like a cat on Meg's lap, and this scene with Dr. Hartman.
Oh, this is embarrassing. We wore the same thing.
And speaking of which, I think Hartman is quickly becoming one of my favourite side characters. He doesn't outstay his welcome like, say, Principal Shepard, and Hartman's scenes are usually short and always funny. I also have to say that I laughed out loud when Peter reenacted the Fred Flintstone bowling scene while Bruce played on the xylophone. Also, this dark scene of Peter being electrocuted for murder did get a little chuckle out of me too.
He's funny. Now I see why our daughter got in that van.
Now, if I could critique this episode a bit more, I would say that they could have spent a little bit more time on Meg being pregnant. I feel that that bit in particular was a bit too rushed. And we did get some jokes about her having some very strange cravings for gross food, with the Papa John's bit being pretty funny, but I feel that they could have done a little bit more with it. Like, you know, a baby shower or something. But I guess the writers probably used all of their pregnancy jokes on Stewie.
Now this makes it real! Oh my goodness, that's enough cake for you, Marybeth.
Overall, it was a really solid start to the season, and if the show does keep going with this quality, then hopefully we are in for a really good season. And all in all, I'll give it a good 4 out of 5 stars. So, if you've watched the episode, what did you think of it? What would you give it out of 5, and what could it have done a little bit better? And what did you really like? Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.